So now I'd like to introduce Mrs. Robinette, and she will present BRIC's information.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Parent Information Night. I'm Paula Robinette, and I am the proud principal of BRIC Elementary. We are so excited for all of you to join us tonight to learn a little bit about our programming and to meet some of our wonderful staff. Before we get started, we are all going to introduce ourselves. So I'll start by letting you know that I've been the principal at BRIC Elementary since 2018. And before that, I taught in our district for 13 years as a special education teacher. I'm also a proud graduate of Lincoln Schools, and I always love to tell our students that I started out at Lincoln in the 3rd grade right here at BRIC Elementary. And then I'd like to give all of our teaching staff here a chance to introduce themselves to you as well. You guys can just go through the next slide and they can read as their names come up, please.
Hi, I'm Jan Cupp. I am a kindergarten teacher here at Lincoln Consolidated Schools, and I've enjoyed working at BRIC here every day with fabulous staff, fabulous kids, and fabulous families. I want to thank you for joining us tonight.
Kelly, you're muted.
Sorry. Hi, I'm Kelly Curtis. I teach Young Fives here at BRIC, and I love Young Fives. It's a great program, and this is my 23rd year teaching.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Crumry, and I teach kindergarten at BRIC. This is my 40th year teaching, so obviously I love it. Teaching is my second home, and thank you for coming.
Hi, my name is Letitia Rankins, and I teach kindergarten here at BRIC. I've been teaching 23 years. I first started off at Model, but I'm here at BRIC, and I really enjoy teaching here at BRIC with a wonderful staff. And I love Lincoln Consolidated so much, I even live in the district.
Hi, I'm Cassandra Coker. I'm a teacher consultant here at BRIC, and I've been here for 23 years as well, and I love every day at being at BRIC.
Hi, I'm Michelle Cox. I'm the Title I parent coordinator. I have been at BRIC for 4 years. I've been teaching at Lincoln for about 6, and I'm also a parent here. And at Lincoln, all of my children go to school here, and I have one that has graduated from here.
So I just want to let you know that as we go through the slides tonight, that keep in mind that currently we're in a hybrid situation, and all of us adhere to the CDC guidelines for masking and distancing. Our pictures are from a time when we did not need to do that. So I would like to give you a couple of really cool and interesting school facts about BRIC Elementary. We are the birthplace of Lincoln Schools. Back in 1924, 13 one-room schoolhouses consolidated to form our school district. And although this year we aren't able to offer Young Fives due to COVID and families are keeping them home, next year we will when we start in 2021 in the fall. So we will have students Young Fives to 5th grade. We're also a Title I building, and that allows us to offer things like free breakfast and lunch to all of our students. We have additional interventionists, and we also have access to technology devices and after-school programming. We're also a proud Michigan Evergreen School, and we have offered STEM since 2012. And we'll learn a little bit more about these things as we go through this slideshow. So at BRIC, and throughout Lincoln Schools, safety and security of your children is our #1 priority. So we have several things in place that allow your students to learn in a safe environment. Our new office has a secure vestibule, and that allows us to have people come just directly into the office, and before they have access to the building, they have to come through the office. We also have cross-corridor security doors, classroom locking systems, and security cameras throughout the building. Now, I'm always very much aware that when I'm talking to you, you have young children, and thinking about things like that is a little scary. But I tell you that so that you know that your students are safe and they're in a safe learning environment and you don't need to worry about them. We also have PPE available for all of our staff and students. We have hand sanitizers at every doorway, and then they have masks, and we also have physical distancing protocols in place right now. And then Mrs. Curtis is going to explain about Young Fives.
Hello. So Young Five is designed for children who will be turning 5 September 2nd to December 1st. I have in the past have had students that have summer birthdays. They turn 5 maybe in July or August. And some of the reasons that maybe the parents had chosen Young Fives over kindergarten when they have kind of an older one, it might be for developmental reasons, you know, maybe just to give them that extra time to kind of develop prior to going to kindergarten. Sometimes it's for social emotional issues. Sometimes the student has had, you know, trouble separating from parents, and so it just gives them that extra time. Sometimes it's that they just haven't had enough time socializing with other children, so it gives them that extra year. And sometimes it's, you know, for academics. They just feel like academically they're not quite ready for kindergarten. And so some of those summer birthdays, they choose Young Fives as well. It really is a great program. It just gives them that extra boost before going to kindergarten. And I would say, like I said, it's designed for September 2nd to December 1st. But even if you have a summer birthday, if they've turned 5 and you're really just kind of on the fence, I always just say, if you're not sure, then wait. It can't hurt to wait and give them the extra boost. When I used to teach kindergarten, I would sit through fall conferences and had lots of parents say, I wish I would have waited, you know, and then it's kind of too late. Young Fives does follow the same calendar as the other students in kindergarten students. It's a full day of school and they get breakfast and lunch, and we have specials. And they really get to do everything that the other students in the building do. We have a structured curriculum. I do have it's called Big Day for Pre-K program, and it focuses on letter names and letter sounds, and just doing different activities with those letter sounds, like phonemic awareness and lots of number recognition and number writing. And we really do work on all of the kindergarten skills. We just don't use the kindergarten curriculum. So we are working on kindergarten skills. I would say that the biggest difference is that it just gives them more time to get there. We have more time to get there throughout the year, which again, it allows me to also just kind of meet the kids where they're at. And I can kind of, you know, adjust the program as needed to individual needs, which is great because there is flexibility to do that. We use a lot of hands-on activities and developmentally appropriate activities. We do STEM in our Young Fives classroom. I try to incorporate STEM each month, kind of following the theme that we're teaching. A lot of hands-on activities. Sometimes in the winter when it's cold and we can't go outside, I bring the snow in. I just put the snow in tubs and the kids get to play in the snow in the tubs. We have a unit in Young Fives called Imagine It, Make It, which is a really fun unit. And we build a huge fort that the kids can go in and play in. And we build it out of cereal boxes. And that's really fun. And we can kind of tie it together with recycling and reusing. We use during that unit, we also have a big creation station where the kids can go explore and just kind of make all kinds of fun, you know, projects using stuff from like just to toilet paper rolls or towel, you know, paper towel tubes. But it really is a great program. It just, like I said, there's more time. It just gives the kids more time. Thinking about kindergarten and Young Fives, kindergarten, their report card, they're grading on like 40 sight words, but they're really covering 80 sight words throughout the year, just to give you an idea. In Young Fives, once the students are really solid with letters and sounds, we do move towards sight words if they're ready. And I do have a lot of students that leave Young Fives with some beginning reading skills. So it is a great program. I love it, of course. And I would love to see your kids in the program.
Ms. Cup?
I'm here. I'm Jan Cup, like I said, and I teach kindergarten. I'm going to speak briefly about the kindergarten curriculum. We have two programs, one for reading, one for math. And for reading, we have the Journeys program from Houghton Mifflin. And of course, it covers letter names, letter sounds, sight words. I think for kindergarten, one of the unique features of the curriculum for the children, yes, we're going to learn those skills, but almost simultaneously, we're going to learn how to apply those skills. So one of the things we start doing the first few days of school is give every child their own journal, and we have them to draw a picture and write letters or words about their picture. And that's a chance to begin to apply those pre-reading skills that they come to school with. Also, we have math expressions. That's also a Houghton Mifflin program. And this program looks at numbers. It looks at quantity, comparing numbers, greater, less. It looks at even addition and subtraction. So taking number recognition to a new level where we're actually applying it to some math operations. We have our science program with STEM. We have force and motion. We have our plants and animals, seasons and weather, and all of it has a component of STEM or engineering. When you investigate in kindergarten, you also explore. You need to explore things before you can investigate. Next, I think observation is one of the most basic science skills children have that they have to develop, is to observe their world around them. And those different programs that are different areas of study in science do provide that time and the materials for them to have a chance to observe their world. In social studies, we have the maps and globes, past and present, wants and needs. It's a fascinating time to teach children about social studies, about their world as far as themselves in school, their friends, their families, the history of their world. Also, just being able to work in a classroom is a big part of social studies for kindergartners. We do have our daily specials, art, gym, music, PE and music. And there again is another place for children to begin to apply skills that they might have a strength in one area or an interest in one of those areas. I think it's also another area where they learn new vocabulary words. There's certainly a vocabulary list that is very inherent to physical education. And again, there's another basic vocabulary list for music. So again, it broadens their experience at school. But I think the most important thing about the kindergarten curriculum is that we give children the chance to develop independence and confidence as they meet all of these new academic challenges. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Letitia Rankins, and I'm so excited to talk about the classroom environment. It reminds me when I was a little girl down south in Louisiana, going to my grandmother's house. Grandma Velma had everything that I needed when I went into that house. She was there with a big smile. She had my cookies and my milk. She had the wooden puzzles. It reminds me of the classroom environments here. When your child walks in, they're greeted by loving teachers ready to help them be successful for the day's work. So I'll start with collaborative learning. That's basically, it takes place when they're in groups, they're talking to each other, they're taking turns, they're listening to each other, and they're sharing some of their stories, what they're learning. Buddy reading, it takes place with our daily 5 learning. The kids have book boxes full of books where they take out their books and they'll read to their friends, they'll read to themselves. And that's what our buddy reading is about. Also, some years I buddy up with the 5th grade teachers and sometimes even the 4th grade teachers. And the students from the 4th and the 5th grades will either come downstairs to read to my kindergarten class, or we'll go up and we'll share our books with them. And they get so excited because they're able to read some words to the older students. Exploration, that takes place all the time during the kindergarten school year. For example, with math, with their pattern blocks, they're exploring the pattern blocks, they're building things are falling. They're having a good time exploring the different materials, map blocks, then also with cubes for the exploration. Cause and effect, that's through our STEM program. We do a lot with that with, for example, if you're building cups, if you're building with like cups, you keep building, then the effect is they will fall. And hands-on learning, that takes place all the time in kindergarten from the moment they step in, basically. I'll just give you a few examples. When they're reading from their book boxes, or even just when they're reading at their seat, sometimes we use popsicle sticks, we decorate them, and they use those popsicle sticks as pointers to point out sight words in their journals or in their, just reading a book that they have at their seat and on the carpet with their friends. Sometimes we even buy like those cute little fingers that you see at Halloween time, and then they just point to the words as they're writing the words in their journal or reading the words in books. Writing, the warm weather is coming our way, and I'm so excited because I will be able to take my kids outside and they can write sight words and letters on the sidewalk with the sidewalk chalk. So they'll have a really good time doing that with the warm weather that's approaching us, which we had today, but it was a little too windy. And with math, we did some addition today with dice. We rolled the 2 dice. What did you get for your answer for our addition problem? So they really had a good time with the dice rolling to solve some addition problems. Science, we use a variety of materials for our science experiments. We may build a house for an animal out of clay or wooden popsicle sticks. And the last thing, the foster a love of learning. That happens right when your child gets off that school bus or out of the car. They're greeted by smiling faces of the teachers ready to help them learn to be successful throughout the day. Help them get into their classroom, help them put their things in their lockers. And they are offered a very nutritious, nice breakfast that they will eat before they start the day if they have not eaten at home. Even if they have eaten at home, they may want to eat again. And then we'll start the day with beautiful, positive announcements from our principal, Paula Rob-Burnett. She always starts with some beautiful quote to start our children off on a positive note. And then learning just takes place and it takes off. We have a lot of fun here in kindergarten. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Crumry again, and I'm going to talk a little bit about STEM. On the side, you can see some of the things that are available, and Mrs. Cox is going to speak about the Makerspace. We have brand new bin cue boards in the classroom, which is an interactive smart monitor. It replaces our smart boards, and it's high resolution. The kids interact with it. It even has some germ protection on it, which I was excited to learn about with the conditions we're working under now. But I wanted to concentrate more on STEM in kindergarten. In kindergarten, the kids are exploring materials and experimenting with materials. they're asking questions and trying new things. And as they're trying things, they're making adjustments. And an example of that is for Earth Day, traditionally I've had the kids make paper, and I divide them into groups and I give them a problem. I've gone to the store and I need to buy party invitations and I want a certain color, and I give each group a different color. And the store didn't have any. So what two colors could I put together to create that color? So as a group, they decide what two colors to put together. We blend up the paper, and in the process of blending, the kids talk about it and decide whether it's the color that they want, whether they should add more of one or more of another. And then they each get to make a piece of paper that they can explain the process to older kids during the STEM fair, and then take the paper home to share with their families. We've also used UV beads and done experiments with those. We've taken them out and experimented with them in the snow. We've brought them in, we've tried them putting different things over them, like suntan lotion, to see what the effect the suntan lotion would have on the UV beads. And that generates a lot of discussion. We've been using Mystery Science for teaching science and Mystery Doug, and those programs lend themselves very well to discussions and what if and what do you think, really getting the kids to think about their learning, not just telling them what they're learning, but having them grow and experience it. Through STEM, I mentioned the BenQ boards. The kids have one-to-one iPads. We have the tech lab, special STEM materials that can be checked out and brought into the classroom, and STEM materials that are in the Makerspace. There are STEM parent nights with specific activities, a Lego board wall that you'll see in a picture. And we continue to grow and learn as a staff so that we can share our knowledge with the kids. And it's an evolving program for us as well. Thank you.
So as you can tell, STEM is something that's near and dear to our hearts here at BRIC. The following slides are going to give you a glimpse into some of the many fun and educational activities that our students get to do throughout the school year, and their families right along with them sometimes. And Mrs. Cox is going to explain that, and she'll just let Miss Curry know when she needs to go on to the next slide. All right, so we can get started on the next slide.
Hi, I'm Michelle Cox again, and I am going to talk about our fantastic STEM program that Ms. Robinette had said was established around 2012. One of the first things that we did was to make a space, a specific space called the Makerspace, where we house a lot of our STEM materials. STEM is often used with things that you can find in the home, so we have collected items that are in that space. We have, we use, as the last slide showed you, that it said engineering is elementary, the EIE program. That's a research-based program that empowers our students, to become lifetime learners and passionate problem solvers. That happens in this magical space here where we've got sewing machines, we've got tools, we have green screens. You can see in this picture, there's a Lego wall. In this picture in particular, there is the man in the picture is a Dr. STEM. We work with outside companies and businesses to help promote the STEM program. The next slide, please. This is a picture we've got families in. They're actually using that computer to do some designing, which they will then use one of the 3 3D printers that we have in the Makerspace area. So we use that technology as part of the planning process, which is the engineering, one of the first steps in the engineering process. So go to the next slide. So we offer master maker sessions. We offer those in a couple of different ways. As you see here, these guys are working on electricity, the different ways of making electricity. We have circuit boards that they can start off with, which use your traditional batteries and things like that to do different type of circuitry. And then they move on to, as we said, things you can find in the house, food. So they're using these two, and there's little ways that they can test little light bulbs, little things like that, that they're working on circuitry and the flow of electricity in this picture with their mom. So some of the maker sessions happen at night. Some of them happen during the day. We call them makey because you often leave with some form of product. So the next slide. So this one is where we're showing can shows. We took regular cans, coffee cans. They used coffee cans. We used tissue boxes, and families came together this night to develop a plan to make a musical instrument. So first they planned it, they created it, they communicated, they started here, they're putting it together, and then they make changes to try to make it better. So there's always critical thinking going on and problem solving. So the next slide, please. The Makerspace is also used during the day. There is a sign up that teachers can go in there and use. These little guys are actually using one of our circuit kits to work on the beginning stages of electricity and understanding how that moves around. The teachers, we can go in there, there are sewing machines. They use it for writing. Often a student will write a story, and then there's a green screen in the teachers or in the Makerspace where the student would then read their story, and behind them can be illustrations, it can be other things are brought behind them, so they look like they're kind of going through their story. So those are some of the things that are done during the day in the Makerspace. Next slide, please. All right, so we're teamwork. These guys are also working on circuitry. So one thing with STEM is often these guys become their teachers. They will work in groups. Each one of them have a little job. It could be the designer. It could be that they are the communicator, and they're working together to usually solve some form of challenge. We like to emphasize real world challenges because as you probably know, STEM is the way of the future. So to get students at a very young age to start thinking about problem solving in a STEM critical thinking kind of way will help them further down the road. And one of that is teamwork, being able to build those relationships and ways to communicate their thoughts and processes. Next slide, please. It's the Lego wall. So that is off, they use it, these guys are probably, I don't know, I can't remember, but they're probably just using it for play. This is also used during, when we talking about cities, they often will build their little cities on here, and then they talk about the electricity. How do you keep the city, how do you keep them with electricity? How do you keep the citizens in that city happy, or the different resources that would be needed? So there's Lego wall. Next slide, please. This is a family STEM nights. We offer at least one family STEM night. However, what Ms. Cupp said earlier, where it's integrated into all of our other subjects, is very true. So usually if we're doing a literacy night or multicultural night, those also have some form of STEM component in it. Here they are working on there's cards there. They're actually doing challenges. And I believe this one was the line 5, the pipeline that was going through. We were talking about the pros and cons of it. And so these guys were problem solving how a better way of doing that. So next slide, please. Partnerships. BRIC is huge on building a community because it takes a community to raise a child. So we are very fortunate to obviously you can see Michigan State, University, Eastern. We have different relationships with each one of them. The U of M, we go in there and they have a lot of STEM stuff that they do, things that they test, like there's a whole water filtration system there, and often our kids will go there and problem solve, building canoes that will be able to float down rivers. They've had U of M students coming in that will also teach things like that have to do with STEM. Eastern, we often do buddy reading with them. A lot of the athletes will come in and they'll come into the classrooms. They do buddy reading on a weekly, or when we're not in COVID, on a weekly and a monthly basis with the classroom. We work with food gatherers. We are an open site. So they bring in produce boxes from local communities. So it could be Kroger's, or it could be a farmer that they bring those boxes here, and we're able to distribute them to our families and stuff. We work with CAN, which is the Community Action Network. We're actually very fortunate. We're leading that is able to offer a separate summer school program where CAN buddies up with BRIC, and it's all summer. It's 8 weeks, and we focus on some form of STEM with a theme. Last year was art. So we had art teachers coming in, and it's here in the building. There's a specific spot here in building for CAN and our school program, summer school program. On top of that, we are also able to offer a after school program where several of our students will go down there and continue learning. They have time to do their homework. There are teachers that come in and help with tutoring. They can help them. They have a curriculum themselves that they do. And then we can see those are STEM. All of that is STEM. There's a wide variety of STEM in our area. So we're very fortunate to be able to work with a lot of them. Next slide, please. This is Ms. Coker.
Yes. PTO is our parent teacher organization, and I am a member of that, but this time I am as a parent. I'm a parent of a 4th grade student, and we meet once a month to talk about how to better support our teachers and get the materials into students' hands. We have an upcoming silent auction that we're very excited about, and those proceeds are going to go to get more STEM materials for our students.
So as I had mentioned earlier, we are a very proud certified Michigan Evergreen School, and that's the highest level for Michigan Green Schools. We have a robust recycling program, water bottle filling stations. We participate in a DTE energy assembly, and then we are able to do so safely. We have our students attend field trips that promote green thinking.
Me again. All right, Brick Bash is one of the things that most kids, all kids, I should say, and staff, we all look forward to this. It's a culminating activity that we do in partnership with community members, parents. Can't do it without all of our wonderful parent volunteers. And essentially, it's like an all day, maybe like a field day, but it does focus on STEM. So for example, the 5th grade, they will create STEM game challenges, and those will be a station out there. There's building blocks. Sometimes we give them a challenge like with Angry Birds, and they have to come work in their little group in how to hit as many boxes as they can down. So Brick Bash is a huge, huge culminating end of the year. We do celebrations. We do our parent luncheon, where we as staff thank the parents for their partnership with us throughout the year and for supporting us. And the kids just have a blast. As you can see all these faces in there, there's a lot of different challenges, and a lot of fun happens that day.
This is me. So our next step, so you've heard about the programs, but what comes next is the enrollment process. Kindergarten enrollment. Traditionally, we have set up appointments where we do the screening and collect the paperwork and get your child enrolled all in one meeting. This year, we're going to change that up a little bit. Traditionally, we have kids move from station to station to station to get screenings. And we felt that at this time, that wasn't the safest way to proceed. So we are going to have everybody complete the paperwork enrollment, get their child signed up, and get placements into school buildings by June, and then bring back kids prior to school starting in August to do the screenings such as hearing and vision, and take a look at where they might be starting academically to help with some classroom placement once school starts. So the first steps, we will be making every effort to accommodate the family's preference based on space available in the buildings. So we place in the first round will be after the 1st of May. So beginning of May, we'll place everybody who's already enrolled into the 3 buildings based on space availability and things that will take higher precedence are siblings in the building. So if you have a brick child and you want your kids to continue in brick, that will have a heavier weight than somebody who doesn't. And then for childs specifically, we do have the geographic neighborhood that does take a little bit of precedence. We enroll using an online application called Registration Gateway that does include families who currently have children that are attending model in the GSRP and early childhood special ed programs. You need to go on, create an account, and add your child's information. That includes, their basic information, your emergency contact information, your residency information, medical information. All of that information then becomes part of the child's record, so that staff have the information that they need. So we are asking that you complete paperwork by May 1st so that they're part of the first round. And we'll be notifying building placement in June, and then classroom and teacher placements are announced in late August. For families that are not district residents, we do have School of Choice. It's an online application which we expect to have available in mid-April. It'll be on our website, and it's open to anybody in the Washtenaw and surrounding counties. As far as kindergarten students, there's very little that we can use to deny a child in the application. And those 2 things basically are prior behavior in it where they were enrolled somewhere else. And then if they are receiving special ed services outside of the county. So in this case, kindergarten students almost always get approved immediately. I say that because people are asking do I have to fill out School of Choice before I can enroll? Do I enroll before I do School of Choice? They can be done simultaneously. And as I said, we are going to be moving the student screenings to mid-August, and we'll have more information during the summer about that as we identify the exact timing and placements, or timing and get that scheduled. So to enroll online, it's pretty easy to find on our website. If you go to our website, lincolnk12.org, there's a button right on the front screen, about 1/3 of the way down the page that says Enrollment. If you click on that, that page, we have an item called Kindergarten School Year 2021-22. With that, it provides a list of the items that you need: a birth certificate, a parent ID, guardian ID, the official immunization record. For kindergarten, we do need, and young fives, we do need a well health appraisal, but we also know that if you have a 4-year-old and you haven't had your appraisal yet, you have to be 5, then that piece of documentation will not hold up your enrollment. We do want it in, we do need it in as soon as possible, but we do know that that is something that you might not have in May. And then proof of residency. There is a link right here to go into Registration Gateway. And then we also, that is done completely online. And this year we've also started collecting all the supporting documentation. You can scan it and upload it, or you can take a photo of it and upload it. So we've been able to move everything to an online format. So it makes it easier. You can do it on your time and send it through. Our friends over at Model Elementary wanted us to remind everybody, because this may be the first time that you're connecting with us, that we have the Early Childhood Center over at Model, where there are programs for children in age birth to age 5, designed to meet the diverse and unique needs of children within our community. So we have Great Start Readiness Preschool, we have Head Start Preschool, we have early childhood special education classrooms, and evaluation and support services. So if you have a need or interest in those, we encourage you to reach out to Model Elementary for those. And we have been able to, over the last couple of years, not this year, this past summer, provided some summer activities to bring incoming kindergartners on campus before school starts. And we have plans to do that again this summer, to bring those back. Our Reading in the Park, we have one night per month, June, July, and August, where we meet over in what we call Splitter Park next to the middle school tennis courts. And we have guest speakers, and we have the library there. We give out free books. So it's just a way to get reading done during the summer. So we invite everybody out for those. And then in the past, we've been able to provide a back to school event. We are changing that up a little bit because of the social distancing we want to put in place, at least for the short period. And so this year we're going to do a back to school Stuff the Bus and food truck rally that will take place in the elementary bus loop between Brick and Bishop on August 19th. So we're encouraging you to put those dates on your calendar and join us for those activities. And that concludes the presentation, but we're going to open it up for questions and allow people to ask any questions in the question and answer area.
So I'll go ahead and read the questions, and then the panelists, if there's anybody that wants to answer it, you can go ahead. So this says, Bishop's presentation mentioned having wobble seats and other seat options within the class, which sounded great for ADHD and autistic kids who are having trouble staying in one spot. Does Brick do something similar? You want to speak about that, Ms. Coker?
Yes, we have all kinds of different seatings and choices for students with all different types of needs. We have wobble seats as well. We have cushion seats, we have wedges, anything that helps a student, we do have available.
Are there any other questions that I'm missing? What is the typical class size? So Kelly, if you want to speak about young fives, and then Rose, if you'd like to speak about kindergarten.
So I would say most years in young fives, it's about 18 or 19 students at the largest. And whether or not I have adult support in the classroom just depends on the needs of the students. Sometimes I've had adult support, you know, depending on the needs of the students that particular year. Other times I've just had myself in there with 18 or 19 students.
And for kindergarten, the class sizes are generally about 24 students. And as far as adult support, it's the same as what Mrs. Curtis said, that it depends on what the needs of the students are. So sometimes I have adult support, and sometimes there isn't any other than myself.
Right, the next question says, how does Brick incorporate the STEM program concurrent with the Common Core? And they're curious as to how it looks different than at Childs or Bishop. So any of the classroom teachers, if they'd like to discuss that.
I will talk about that a little bit. Today I was watching two young gentlemen build with their Legos, and it was during a center time, and they kept taking their hands and going over to each other's Lego tower, and they just couldn't quite get the correct or accurate answer to whose tower was the tallest. And I said, gentlemen, count your Legos. And there they're using their math to also incorporate a part of their STEM activity. I think now, as Ms. Rankins was talking about, taking a walk, when you go outside, what you observe, then you can come back in and you can do some of the writing in your journal about what you observed outside. Sometimes our activities are free choice with STEM and exploration. And again, through their journals, that will show up independently, applying that experience. And many times that choice of STEM activities is one of their own personal choices. And I go back to, it's exciting to see them to become more confident and more independent with something like science and technology and engineering and math, and it becoming a very natural part of their vocabulary.
I could also add to that as well. I was just going to say in Young Fives, so STEM just kind of sometimes intertwines the different curricular areas, and of course our curriculum is aligned with Common Core. In Young Fives, like I said, sometimes we do more, it follows kind of our thematic units. So in the fall, I might read, 10 apples up on top, and then I put the kids in like groups of 4, and I give them a bunch of apples and popsicle sticks. And so STEM is really just kind of giving them materials, and it's kind of an open-ended, exploration of, what should I do with these? How could these work? The kids talking with each other and collaborating with each other. With the apples and the popsicle sticks, at first when you give them to them and you have to kind of elicit, like, what should you do with them? How can you stack the apples? How tall can you make them without them falling? And they try. And then you might have to say, well, how could you use the popsicle sticks? Could you use the popsicle sticks? And then they start figuring out that they kind of like wedge the apples on the popsicle sticks, and it holds them all together so that they don't fall. And then, 4 and 5-year-olds, and they had this great idea, well, it's falling, so the base needs to be wider. And they came up with that on their own, not with those words, but they decided that it needed to be wider so that it could support it without falling over. And so just lots of opportunities like that, throughout the school year for them to just work with different materials and try different things.
So we have 2 questions that are actually about birthdays. They want to know if a child with a late June birthday or can qualify for the Young Fives. And the answer is no. July 1st is the cutoff. And then the next question is if we choose one school for our child, do they have to stay in that school through 5th grade? What I'm going to say to that is no, we would never make you do that, but we would really encourage you to stay with us, because we feel strongly that communities created by having those many years of experience with each other. And I always tell people that we're very blessed to be in this district because there's so many choices for our kiddos. And I think that no matter which building you choose, that you're going to find a wonderful community of students and staff. But we would love if you'd stay with us from the time you started in Young Fives all the way through 5th grade, so that we can see you on 5th grade recognition as you walk across that stage. The next question that I see, and some of them are moving through, I'm going to go back and make sure I didn't miss anybody, but it is, how many Young Fives teachers are there this year at Brick? So this year, we don't have a Young Fives program. That's typically Miss Curtis, and that's why she's here today. But because of COVID and so many families chose to keep their kiddos home this year, we just have Young Fives at Bishop. But next year in the fall, we will have a Young Fives program here at Brick. All right, do we have any more questions? Does anyone else see any that I missed? I see one more here. What is the birthday cutoff? For Young Fives, the birthday cutoff is July 1st. And if you're going into kindergarten, I believe it's December 1st. All right, well, I just want to thank all of you. Unless there's any questions, I want to give everyone time. Of 2021 for kindergarten. That's the question from Darlene Ross. All right, so I want to thank all of you for coming tonight. Oh, go ahead. If you think your child needs more time or help, and you get it through the school. We have a wonderful MTSS process in our building, and we partner together. Our teachers meet several times a month to discuss kiddos in their classrooms, the needs that they have. Then our MTSS, that's the multi-tiered systems of support that we follow, how our kids are doing. We offer strategies to the teachers for interventions in the classroom. We have additional interventionists in our building that help kids if they need it. So we have a great program for that if kids need more time or additional help. And that question is really something I think that Ms. Curry can answer, whether the webinars will be available to go back and view.
Yes, we are recording today. We recorded yesterday. Unfortunately, we did not record Child's, but we do have all of these presentations are on the front page of the website where the webinar was listed at.
And you know, I always tell parents and things like this that if you have questions, because what'll happen is you'll get done with this and you'll start to think of things, oh, I wish I'd asked. You are more than welcome to call me. The number's on the website, and I'd be happy to talk to you if you have specific questions.
I'd also say that if you are enrolling and you have questions on the process itself, we do have some customer service personnel who can help you, walk you through the process. And you just email them at enrollment@lincolnk12.org, and they'll answer your questions and help you figure out how to get your child enrolled.
All right. I don't see any more. All right. Thank you all so very much for coming and joining tonight. It was great to be able to share our wonderful program with you. We look forward to seeing you in the fall.